Hey, it's the Pitchability Show, episode 6. This is the show where you develop from the ground up. Hey, this is Tom Oldham. Welcome to the Pitchability Show. Just a reminder, you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Tom Oldham Baseball, and on Twitter and Instagram at Tom Oldham 19. We're going to answer a couple questions today. The first one is, how do you teach players to get into a balance point? And one of the things that I wanted to do was go through some video analysis here to show that we really don't teach getting to a balance point per se in the delivery with the leg lift. A lot of times when you have specific drills where you're working on getting to the balance point, the pitchers become robotic, and because of that they don't really have efficient lower half mechanics and don't get as much power as they should through their lower half. So what I wanted to show is this video here, where you'll see that he really doesn't get into a balance point and stop. What we actually teach is, as this front leg is lifting, you'll notice that his front hip is also getting momentum down the mound. So the first marker in the delivery that I look for is hip load, and this is really an indication of hip load. If the front knee here is not getting at least to the hip, I ask the pitcher to get a little higher with the front knee so that they can load the hips and efficiently move into hip lead. But you'll see that we don't have the pitcher get to a balance point, stop with the knee, and then start creating momentum down the mound with the hip lead. It's really the hip load turns right into the hip lead, and that's how you're creating the momentum down the mound. So what I would suggest is, rather than having balance drills, or sometimes I see pitchers on chairs where they'll put the foot on the chair and then go, I wouldn't worry about any of those mechanics, or any of those drills, I should say. What I would focus on is, as that pitcher is lifting that front leg, ask them to tilt their hips, or to show their butt to the catcher. That's really the best way to indicate that we've got good hip load and we're ready to move into hip lead. So how do I teach balance point? I really don't. I would rather teach hip load into hip lead, and there shouldn't be a stopping point with that front knee getting to its highest point. It should really move right into the hip lead phase. So hopefully that answers that question. The second question that we got was around lateral trunk movement. And the question, I talk a lot about this in the training groups, and a lot of people had questions on what is lateral trunk movement, and why is it so important? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the front foot strike here, and you'll notice lateral trunk movement is what I want to see in high velocity pitchers, is that we have the head over the midsection are actually a little bit back on here. And what that allows is, as the pitcher gets to front foot strike, now we can start to move laterally with the trunk this way before we start to rotate with the shoulders to throw the baseball. So if you get out to front foot strike and your head is actually over here on this side of your midsection here, or your midline, then you're going to have a tendency to be over rotational right as you get to front foot strike, and you're not going to have any opportunity for your trunk to move laterally before you turn and rotate your shoulders to throw the baseball. And when we get over rotational right at front foot strike, that's where we lose a lot of power, and we have some mechanical breakdowns. Sometimes we have forearm fly out with that because we're so rotational right as our front foot hits. So what I teach guys and what I like to see right here at front foot strike is that their head is again behind their midline here. That will allow them to move laterally with their trunk, really get into strong knee flexion before they basically get into extension and throw the baseball. So hopefully that answers what lateral trunk movement is and why it's so important. This point in the delivery, right when that front foot hits, tells you so much as far as what's happened before front foot strike and what's going to happen after that, to see if there's any mechanical inefficiencies that we need to clean up. So hopefully that answers the question. If you have any questions, you can email me at tom@tomoldhambaseball.com or message me on Facebook, and we'll be sure to answer them on the show. We'll see you next episode. Thanks.